E aí, suave. Yo, 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 guys, welcome back again. Today, what I just said was, I really don't remember what I just said. I said, can you tell me what I said in Portuguese? I said, I know I said, hi, how are you? But can you translate what I just said in Portuguese for all my people in Brazil that's watching?
Yeah, he said, e aí, suave?
E aí, suave.
It, e aí, it's like so, and suave, it's like how you're doing.
Exactly. So guys, how are you doing? Welcome back again to another episode. We have the first time actually we've already had an Afro-Colombian on here. Now we have an Afro-Brazilian. Yo, the number one Afro-Brazilian of all time. She's here with us right now. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you so much. From what city in Brazil are you in again?
Sorry?
What city in Brazil are you in?
I'm in São Paulo right now.
Oh, Sao Paulo. Oh my God. Sao Paulo is so big. It's like 30 million people or something like that. It's a huge city. I wish more people in America would understand how big. We don't even have those biggest cities in America. Like in New York City is the biggest city. I think it's
Really?
like 11 million people, 12 million people. Because in
Really?
America, yeah, we have big cities, but in America we don't have mega cities. Like when it comes to population.
Mm.
So in like Brazil, you guys have like, I think São Paulo is like what, like 28 million or something, like something crazy.
Yes, I think it's around like 20, 22 million of people, like São Paulo and big São Paulo.
Yeah, it's almost like when you go to Nigeria, it's like, I think like Lagos has like 20 million people, Tokyo has like almost 30 million. So people don't realize that, yeah, New York City is like a financial hub and maybe a lot of culture and stuff like that. But in America, we don't have mega cities. So today we're talking to a Afro-Brazilian. I'm gonna just go through a couple things with you because, I would like to know more. I think the first thing I would like to know is, like, are there predominant areas in St. Paul that like Afro-Brazilians live in? Like where it's majority Afro-Brazilians? I know like throughout the whole country, it's majority, like what'd you say, 50 something, over 50% is Afro-Brazilian?
Mhm. Yes, we are like we are around 54% here in Brazil, black and brown. For you guys here, we are black. Just. And I live in the southeast in São Paulo. Here is near of Rio de Janeiro. You should know.
Yeah, I love.
And so I was saying, São Paulo is the city, I think is the city out of Africa which has more black people. In numbers. Here, as I said, it's around 20 million of people. But Salvador is the city out of Africa which has more quantity of black people in percentage. It's like, I think, 80% or more. So here, as I can tell you in US, like white people usually lives in the suburbs and black people usually lives in the center.
Right.
Here it's crossed. So
okay, so it's, well, some cities in America like that, like the rich people live in the city, and you're saying that the like Afro-Brazilians live in the outskirts?
Yeah. In the city center, but it's most of white people lives in the city center, and black people lives around, like in the suburbs.
Oh,
here.
that's crazy, because most cities in America, it's the opposite. Yeah, like you said, like most white people live in like a richer area, like suburbs, and then most of the inner city is like, depending on what city you are in, is mostly like black or Mexican or whatever it might be.
Yeah, but here the city center is the rich part of the city. But São Paulo is so big that either neighborhood is like a small city. So either neighborhood we have a center and a suburb. So like in the neighborhood I live, it's Pirituba. I love Pirituba in São Paulo.
Me too. If you're there, I love it. I'm telling you, like, I love Afro-Brazilians. Like I just love so much stuff about Afro-Brazilians. Like the more history that I learn, it's just, oh my God, you don't even understand. It's such an honor to talk to you right now because like I love African music. I do.
Thank you.
So you were saying that basically that because I don't think a lot of people realize how big St. Paul is. When I first saw a picture of that city, like literally like 5 or 6 years ago, it reminded me of Tokyo. It reminded me the first time I seen Tokyo and how big of a city it was. Like in America, everybody thinks that New York City is a big city, but like when you look at like Tokyo and St. Paul and like the buildings go on forever. It's like buildings, buildings. Even if you look at a big picture in an airplane, like the buildings go on forever. I'm just like, this is crazy. Like this is a huge city. You
Yes.
know, like
That's funny. That's the same vision I have from São Paulo. Like I'm from São Paulo. My family is from here, but I don't live here. I live in Bahia. And São Paulo is really, 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 really big. I think São Paulo has no end.
yeah,
So when when I got here by plane, I just see buildings and people and cars, and I think, whoa, because where I live, it's not Salvador, but it's really near of Salvador, Bahia.
oh, mm,
But Salvador is a small city if you compare to São Paulo. Like Salvador, it's around 2 or 3 million of people. That's a lot,
that's still
but
big. That's still big.
compare it to 20.
Yeah, that's to me like in America, that's like Chicago, so that's still big. Like that's the second biggest city. Yeah, so
Mhm.
to me, that's what I'm saying is different in America because to me that's still big, but to you, that might be or somebody there might be like a little bit small because even where I live at is like only 1 million, and then with the suburbs and everything, it's 2.4 million. So for me, like super big, you know.
Yes.
So do you like living there? I guess I know that maybe it's hard to speak for like all of Brazil and like Afro-Brazilians, like the culture, but as far as like what you experience in São Paulo and just growing up in Brazil, like I always wanted to know about, and correct me if I'm wrong, capoeira,
Capoeira.
capoeira. See, I knew I was gonna say it wrong. I'm sorry. And I actually did capoeira for
Really?
about 2 years. Yeah, you
Two
wanna
years?
yeah, you wanna go at it, me and you wanna spar? Like,
Win. You win.
actually did it for 2 years, and I really loved it. And like, do you know the history behind that, as far as like the slaves and the slave masters, where the slave masters would come over the hill, and the Afro-Brazilian, or the Africans that were in Brazil, they just act like they were mimicking animals, because originally the fighting style came from West Africa, and it was a wrestling fighting style. Then it turned into like more of a leg kicking fighting style in Brazil, you know.
Yeah, I don't know really much about the history of capoeira. Capoeira, it's common here in Brazil. Maybe you can do capoeira at schools, like when you are a little kid. Boys can do capoeira and girls can do ballet. I don't know
Ah,
why. I don't know why. I'm already 28, so maybe this thing got changed
it's
nowadays. But I'm in the fresh start of capoeira right now. I started capoeira, I think.
you did.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm not that good, but I'm trying. And I don't know how the history of capoeira, but we learn that um, we can't say it's a dance. We can't say it's a fight. It's both.
Yes.
And I know the movement is start. They come with the enslaved people here. So that's like a ritual. That's not also that's not just a dance or not just a fight. Um, that's like a ritual people practice during the free time. But capoeira, it's really important. Right after, yes, right after the end of slave here in Brazil, capoeira was prohibited because police was afraid of capoeira, government was afraid of capoeira, like the movement and the people who did that. That there was just black people, and it's a tool to it have been a tool to fight racism here.
Mm.
Nowadays we have some problems that are lots of white people in capoeira. Many of our masters don't earn money and don't earn way to live with capoeira. Most of our masters goes to Europe or America
Yeah.
and teach capoeira for white people.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's not good because capoeira is really black.
Yeah.
So that are things about cultural appropriation
Yeah.
also.
I agree. I agree. And you're right. Like you were saying that capoeira was brought over from Central West Africa, and basically, like you said, like well, it was a fighting style, and to my knowledge, it was a wrestling fighting style first of all in Africa, and then when it came over, when the African slaves came to Brazil, at that time period, then they used it more so as it was more of like a way of life. It was a fighting style, but it was also a way of life, like you were saying. So it was
Yeah.
very spiritual, and they mimicked a lot of the animals from the forest, or like from the desert, or wherever they were from. They mimic like monkeys, they mimic like, certain animals, and that's why they have different poses. That's why some masters, like, they get on all the paws, like when they're on the ground before they launch into the air. So during slavery in Brazil, the slave masters, they would practice this fighting style and then turn into like a leg, like kicking fighting style as well, as long as with arms. And what happened was is that when the slave masters would come over the hills or whatever, they would act like they were just doing African dances. So even though, like you said, like a lot of people don't know, when they do capoeira, it's a game. Like at first, it's a game with music. So you have people that's playing music, like drumming or
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
congos, and then after that, you can spar with each other. But the sparring of it is a game, and the game can turn serious anytime. So you can like practice with each other, whatever you're playing the game, and then eventually it can turn serious if whenever somebody throws the first like real punch or real kick. So it's a very, you have to have your wits about you, and you have to like be very careful, because like you can get caught off guard. You know, you never know when the game is over and when the fight
Yeah,
really
you can.
begins, you know? Yeah, yeah.
You must be smart.
Yeah, you have to like it, but it teaches you so many things. It teaches you to have a better reaction time. It teaches you like balance. It teaches you how to be limber and speed and strength. And I think that like that was so amazing when I learned that story about how like the slave masters would come and see the African slaves, and then the African slaves would just act like they're playing music and like dancing. But then when they would leave, the slave masters, they would like be practicing how to fight, like that fighting style. It's such an amazing. I'm actually going to make a video about it, but it's so dope that you're actually doing it too, because I do it too. So maybe one day we'll play the game, but like I'll let you, yeah, maybe, but I'll let you like be the first one, like, you know, that like gets serious, you know. You're gonna
Okay.
kick me in the face. You're like gonna kick me in the face. I'm gonna fall on the ground.
No, I'm cute.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. You say that to me. See, that's part of the game
I'm
right there.
cute. I'm
Yeah, that's
cute, but be careful.
yeah. Be careful. Exactly, exactly. So guys, if you don't know what if I'm pronouncing it right, capoeira, right? If you don't know what
Yeah.
capoeira is, I'm going to put like a little clip here so you guys can know what it is. And I'm gonna there's it's funny because in America they put it in so many video games. And even when I was a kid, when I didn't know what capoeira was, I knew that it was a black fighting style. That's something that I knew for sure. Because when you grow up and play video games in America, they put it in Tekken, they put it in Mortal Kombat and different characters. And so you know it's a black fighting style because the black character always had it. I just didn't know where it came from.
Yeah, that's really I don't know. That's nice. That's really nice because here in Brazil, you must know like samba, like feijoada, and another Brazilian things. But all those Brazilian things are not Brazilian. That are black things. That are black culture.
Of course.
And here we grow up knowing that when you are black, like my family loves samba, my family loves feijoada, my family likes capoeira. We don't do that, but we like. And once we go to school, we learn that the things are Brazilian because of the way we were colonized. Like here in Brazil, as we were most of the population, white people couldn't separate us like the things they did in South Africa or even in America, because we were most, so we would react if we were separate. So they started to disseminate thinking of what's the name?
Like
I don't
segregation.
remember.
Like segregation when you keep
No, it's not segregation. That's an illusion of
oh
integrationism here,
yeah,
but this is just illusion. And racial democracy, that's the name.
yeah, yeah.
And here we, a lot of people pretend we are a racial democracy, so there's no racism in Brazil. Everyone is equal to other one. We are just humans. But we really know when we are black and we are not black.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's funny because actually in Brazil there was actually an event, I forget what it's called, but it's called like the Great Whitewashing of Brazil, where they brought in more Europeans. I think they were either Italian, some were German, and they brought them
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Brazil to make Brazil more white. Because if I'm correct, Shakira is from Brazil, and I think Shakira ancestry. Oh, she's not from Brazil. Well, I mean,
Oh,
maybe I'm wrong.
she's from Colombia.
Oh, she's from Colombia. I'm so sorry. It's Colombia. But even in Colombia, like I'm pretty sure that Shakira, her ancestors are from Europe. Like I'm pretty sure her mom was Italian or something. I could be wrong about that, but
Yeah, because Shakira is white. Oh, or here she's white because I think in US she is Latin or
yeah, but that's the problem with people in America when they say Latin, they're saying Latin in the sense of like they don't know what she is. Like they like if you say Latin, most people can tell you what race that is. That to them that just means like, oh, somebody speaks Spanish. Or they think that they're not white or they're not black fully, I guess. But like I even hate the term Latin in that sense. I mean, I guess the term Latin originally came from obviously Latin, which is Spanish speaking countries or like the Latin languages in Europe, like Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, all these like Latin languages. I'm pretty sure Portuguese because like they broke off from Spain or something like that. I can't remember. But Portuguese and Spain are really, they were like one at one point, if I'm correct. And so um, it's interesting because I remember the World Cup in Africa, if I'm correct, like maybe like I don't know how long ago, it was 8, 9, 10 years ago. And I remember when I was like a teenager, like really young, I remember how they picked Shakira to sing in Africa versus picking Beyonce. And I'm not like a Beyonce fan or anything, but it just makes sense that if there's somebody that is, let me make this clear. Everybody comes from Africa. It doesn't matter if you're white, Asian, and everybody they come from us. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that like I guess in more modern times now, you would pick somebody that I guess would be directly linked to Africa, you know, or a melanated person versus somebody that's just like from somewhere else. That's the way I don't I didn't
Yeah, that's a thing that is people loves black things, um, but people doesn't love black people. So
exactly. And the
you
crazy thing
take
is that
you take the black thing to do whatever you want, and you forget about the black people who did that
yeah,
at
you're
the
so
first
right.
time.
You're so right because even I love soccer. I know you guys call it football, but I love
Yeah.
soccer. And I know. I'm sorry. Football. But if literally, it'd be so funny a cultural shock because if you came to America and said football, like it, every person, unless they're really into soccer, which is not the majority of America, like just me, I think most people would think that when you said football, they would just be like the NFL. They'll be like the Cleveland Browns, like you know, like obviously like handball. I think you guys call it handball, right? Um, maybe that's
No, we call it American football.
Oh, American football. Okay, some countries they call it handball, like, which makes sense because you use your hands. But you know, America's so backwards in so many things. I don't understand where some people come from, like football or like hamburger. Maybe a hamburger used to be made out of ham. I don't know, but they call it hamburger and it's beef. All kind of stuff. And the rest of the world uses like centimeters or oh no, km, and we use like miles per hour and stuff like that. So they're just trying to be super duper different. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that even in football or soccer, there's so much racism in that still. Like that might be one of the most racist sports I feel like that exists. I mean, don't get me wrong, like cars, I'm a big car guy and cars is pretty racist still too, depending on what part of the world you go to. But I think soccer might be like the most racist sport still left in this world, to be honest with you. Like because that's the biggest sport in the world. It's not the biggest
Yeah,
sport in America, but it's the biggest sport in the world.
I was thinking about that. Maybe that's because it's the biggest sport, so there are lots of people seeing and enjoying the sport,
Yeah.
and people are racist.
Yeah, it is. It is what it
Yes,
is. You know what I'm saying?
we are not in a fairy tale. People are racist. We need to understand that, to know that, and to fight it back.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, that's why I thought it was really interesting and dope to see and to talk to Afro-Brazilian because I mean, even with technology, like we can even talk to each other, which is crazy. Like if you really think about how far away we are from each other. So let me ask you this: like with Afro-Brazilian culture in Brazil, oh, it's an amazing thing. I know it's an amazing thing. And so I've noticed that there's a big movement, and I don't want to say it's a movement like America, but it's hard to tell because Afro Brazilians, if I'm correct, was like maybe has always been like this versus like some like African countries or African Americans or Caribbeans where do you think that like Afro Brazilians have always worn their natural hair? Like ever since the beginning of being in Brazil, like do you think they've always worn their natural hair or was it
Mm,
something that had to build up? Because I see a lot of big movement in Brazil about natural hair. And I'm like, when I grew up, every time I seen an Afro Brazilian when I was really young, like when I first start really knowing what an Afro Brazilian is, I was just like, I only see them wear natural hair. But in America, natural hair is still like a big deal compared to what it was in like the 70s and 60s when it was like a normal thing. Then before that, it was like everybody permed their hair, and then before that, everybody wore
Mhm.
their natural. So it seems to be like cycles, like it goes up, everybody loves it, then it goes down, then it goes up. So how is it in
Uh,
Brazil?
no, here it's a really new thing to have your natural hair. Me, I think I'm wearing my natural hair from 5 or 6 years now.
Oh,
When I was younger, I what did you say? Perm the hair.
oh yeah, perm, yeah, yeah. We know perm. We know perm.
Yeah, I'm sorry with the English. I'm not completely fluent.
No, it's good.
So I use it to get my hair not straight, but almost straight. And sorry,
It's okay.
I have classes in a couple of minutes.
I know. I'm sorry.
um, but it's really new, but it's still hard. There are people who are more into internet and social media. It's more common, it's easier, but it is still hard with like young girls, young boys. We always have to tell them your hair is beautiful, your skin is beautiful, you are beautiful. And but it's not easy. It's a movement, as you said. It's a movement,
Mm,
and sorry, it's a movement, and it's getting bigger,
mm.
but it's still starting. Uh,
You
I
guys
don't
still
know,
have.
but
Oh,
yeah, my mother and my aunt told me when they were younger, like when they were in their 20s or 30s, they used it to wear natural hairs, and times passed and they use it to straighten their hairs, and now they are wearing natural again.
it's funny how the cycle goes. Is it still like is it still stigma, or is it hard to get a job like when you have natural hair? Because in America, there's still like a thing where they sort of are acting like they're accepting it, but like I don't know fully in America if you can come in with like your natural hair the way that you want to. So a lot of people in America, they still perm their hair just to get a job, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. People say it is not, but it's hard. If you wear like dreadlocks,
Mm,
like you, it's pretty hard. If your hair is like mine, it's maybe can be hard, but it's not impossible.
yeah.
But it really depends on the job.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree because I have locks, and I've been told times when I've applied for jobs, like when I had my hair braided, not even with locks, but when I had it braided back, it wasn't even big. Well, actually, one time I had an afro, and I went to apply for a job, and you know what? I should have bought one of those spy pins on like Amazon and recorded the guy because the guy told me that to get the job I had to cut my hair. Like that's what he told me.
Oh,
And I had an afro, like yours. And he told me I had to cut my hair, and I said I would never cut my hair. I don't care. Like to me personally, I don't care how good a job. I don't care if it pays $1 million. If you take away who I am as a person to get money, money's not that important. I mean, I know some people they think differently, but to me, if you're willing to sacrifice who you are as a person for something like currency or money, I need something bigger. I need what I'm saying? I need something like to save somebody's life or something like that. Like I need something bigger than just money because I can go somewhere else and get
mm.
money. That was my thought. Even though at the time I did need the job, I don't need it now, but I did need it then. I still stood up for I feel like my natural hair and what I believe. I just don't believe in changing yourself. That's racism. Like that really is racism for real.
Yeah, that's really racing. And once you know who you are, um, you can you can be who you are,
Yeah.
and not just think, oh, I need some money and I will get some money like this or this. But that's the way we are still going on. We are still knowing who we are here in Brazil. We know you are black. You can't you can't grow up in Brazil being black without knowing you are black. But some people still are still like, I don't know. I was wondering, and we are learning.
Yeah, well, because yeah, I agree because there's even people like that in America. Like, so for instance, like I actually talked to when I was going through high school. I actually knew some Afro Latinos, and usually the guys accepted it, but the girls didn't accept it. Like I knew some Dominican girls, not a lot because most of them knew, but there was one or two Dominican girls, and I think one girl from Panama. I mean, they were like super duper dark, like darker, like as dark as this Africa, and they would deny. And I understand, like when you hear the term black, like of course black doesn't like black is still a new term, right? Or even African is still like a new term. Like that didn't
Mhm.
exist for thousands and thousands of years. Some people would argue, okay, African came from like a European word called Africanus and all this kind of other stuff. And some people would argue that to call yourself black, like in America, I really don't like to be called black. I mean, I like to be called black when it comes to other people, like my people. But when it
Mhm.
comes to like people in America, I hate when they call me Black American. I hate that because when you say Black American and you don't say African American or whatever, because there's so many different beliefs. There's some people that they'd be like, "Oh, we're indigenous Indians." There's some people that's like, "Nah, we're this, we're that," and I'm just like, whatever. All these names are English, so regardless of how, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are English. So whatever you call yourself, whatever. If you have melon in your skin, that's what I'm worried about. Like I get so sick of arguing about that. But whatever you want to call yourself, for me particularly, I don't like to be called Black American. You know what I'm saying? First of all, I have lineage and like from other places as well, but we were indigenous people or Aboriginal people all over the whole world. You know what I'm saying? Like terms are going to
Mhm.
change over time, but I always like to talk to people on whatever their current terms are because that's what majority of the world knows. Like majority of the world knows Black, majority of the world knows African American or Afro-Brazilian, whatever it might be. So I said all that to say this is that the one thing I hate in America is when people call me Black American. I hate that, but they never will call you Black American in America. But when you leave outside of America, they'll say Black American, and I hate that because
Yes.
when you just say Black American, that just basically means like you have no culture, you're just a color. Like it, there's so many different colors when it comes to people, African people in general. So like me preferably, I prefer to be called African American or whatever, whatever you want to call Afro-Brazilian, Eritrean, Ethiopian, like whatever, Somali, whatever, versus just being called like Black American. I feel like that's such a downgrade and degrading to who we are and how much stuff we've done for this country and the music and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to hear that, even though I knew it, but I would think that since Brazil is so many more the second biggest population of African people outside of Africa, I would think that it would be a tidbit better when it comes to like the natural hair versus America, you know.
How can I say when black things are turned white? That's
Oh,
whitewashing.
whitewashing, yeah.
Yes, here there are lots of whitewashing. So they still try to do this with kids, and lots of times it works. So that's why when we are in a black family, we need to talk to kids all the days
Definitely.
and
I agree.
every single day. And when you grow up in this society, it's sometimes it's hard to assume your natural hair
Yeah.
and to assume you are black, to assume you are engaged, to assume you are fighting racism. Like it's pretty common here in São Paulo or in Rio de Janeiro. You have like white. My
Yeah.
goodness. You have like white friends, and you it's common you being surrounded by white people, and white people say bad things, and once you stand against it, you are like the angry black people.
Yeah, it's like that everywhere. It's like that everywhere. But it's crazy that you said that because, like, okay, for instance, I can understand if like you're just angry and you're angry about nothing. Okay, that's different. You could be like the angry black woman or black man if you're just angry about nothing. Like, okay, that's different. Like anybody, you could be an angry Indian woman, Indian man, angry white person. But when you're trying to stand up for your culture and tell people that like you have culture and what you're trying to protect, it's that lets you know how far we fell as African people, because no one in the world really respects us. I mean, people that respect you, they respect you because there's good people everywhere. But the people that don't respect you, and the stereotypes around the world about who we are, what we do, blase this, blase that, it's not good because we're at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to the whole world, not just in Brazil, not just in America, not just in Africa, like
Mhm.
all of us as a whole. And so the problem is about that is that you'll never, rarely hear anybody say like, oh, if an Indian person stands up for their culture, they're getting mad about it. You know what they do? They respect it. If a Chinese person gets mad about their culture, yeah, even in America, there's some people that will hate like Asian. There's a lot of Asian crimes going on like right now. I love a lot of my friends are Cambodian, Laos, whatever. So I understand the culture and a lot of Asian cultures. But for a long period of time, they had pretty good stereotypes outside of the racist people, which are always going to have bad stereotypes anyways, just because they have bad stereotypes. But like overall, around the whole world, they have a really good stereotype about, okay, they're smart, or Indian people are good with technology, or whatever it is. Only us, we have to constantly try to prove our culture. Granted, I know me and you are not necessarily doing it, but even if a person says that they don't, there's some black people that are like, I'm never trying to prove my culture to nobody. It don't matter if you're not trying to or not. The world still is going to demand you to prove your culture, even if you don't think you're doing it. You just walking around with your hair out like that is proving your culture. That makes some people feel uncomfortable, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know. What I'm seeing here now is this movement about I don't need to prove my culture. I don't need to prove who I am. So I will try to just live my life with
mm,
my people, and that's that's what I want to do in my life.
no, no,
I,
I agree with you. Like I said earlier, like everybody else has that luxury to do that. Indian people can do it and it's okay. The world
Mhm.
like doesn't question them. Asian people can do it, it's okay. But when it comes to us doing it, it's either like we're mad or like like
You are
you're
too radical.
yeah, yeah, you're too pro-black or whatever it is. Like, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Look, I'm not even mad at nobody. Like, look, my thing is like, if you go and marry somebody and you really love them, like if you really love them, then do your thing. Like, if it's a different race or whatever, like, I can't control what every human does. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like it's new that like African people married outside of other African people, black people. Like it's a ancient thing. It's been for thousands of years. People have went to like Asia, India, whatever. But all I can say is that like just don't do it out of the hate of yourself and your own people. Do it because you really want to just like love that culture or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. I also think that I think about things which are behind the things you are doing. Like if you are married, people, a white people or an Asian people, why are you doing that?
Right.
Probably it's common you are doing that because you are looking for something you don't have, a confidence you don't have, a love you don't have for yourself or for your race. But who am I to tell you don't do that? I think it's better you think about, but
Yeah, no, I agree with you because I know, especially a lot in America, there's two different sides. So unfortunately, in America, it's bad. Like it's bad because not for all of us, but there's a lot of black people in America that the women don't trust the men don't trust the women, and it's because there's been a culture that has started before any of us was born. This started 200-300 years ago. It's not even our fault. And the breaking down of our families and who we are and our structure, and every time we try to get bigger, I was talking to somebody and they didn't even know their history, so they were telling me as if black people were always at the bottom. And I'm like, you don't. I can tell you don't know your history, because if you know your history, even in America, we've had Black Wall Street, we've had the Harlem Renaissance. I mean, I can go on forever and ever, but they love to push in the media about how we always were the losers and not the winners. They don't want to push about the ancient African kingdoms or empires, or they don't want to do that. That's the reason I made this channel, because I want our people to know, like, yo, you're way more than what you think you are. And also you need to think from a worldly perspective. So I think in America, there's not a lot of trust, unfortunately, between our people in some aspects when it comes to relationships. And then the culture just keeps repeating and it gets worse and worse and worse. And then on top of that, you throw American culture. But I also think that a lot of people are very like homogeneous, which I understand in some aspects because a lot of Chinese people are like in China. Most people that are in China are Chinese, right? Like 98% of 99 population. I'm actually a big fan of people of African descent all around the world marrying each other. I'm a big fan of that
Me too.
because yeah, I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh, African Americans stay with African Americans, Somalis stay with Somalis, Afro-Brazilians. No, I'm not one of those people. I'm one of those people where it's like, yo, like, no, we're moving into the future. The world is a global place. You already know that it's going to happen even if you don't like it. Like intermingle with each other. The sooner the better, because then you can at least understand
Mhm.
each other's conversation. And that's where I'm at with it. So I tell people all the time, if you're not happy in your country, in the culture in your country of what's going on with the black people, man, go to Brazil, go to Colombia, go to Somalia, go to Ethiopia, go to South Africa, Nigeria, like wherever, you know what I'm saying? Like there's other places that you can go find a husband or a wife that maybe their culture is the same as your culture in America as far as like being messed up the relationships, but if you guys both understand that and there's maybe Afro-Brazilian woman that has these values and maybe a Nigerian man that has these values, maybe you guys can leave both of your cultures and come together and then you guys can like make each other whole, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, Here in Brazil, we um, most of black people marry another black people.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know if there is an understanding about that, but that happens. I know that happens.
of course.
Uh, Maybe only when you are like, I don't know how to say that. We are like achieving things in life, like earning money,
Yeah.
and you start to go to another places and things like that. We start to see more white people and then the marriage and also the friendships also to become to do more white. But in most of the time, black people married to black Brazilian married to another black Brazilian,
Yeah.
and
Same way I would
I
say.
think that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the problem, I think I agree 100%. Like, even though people say like they have like, oh, you see, nowadays people are doing this, people are doing that. When you get down to the stats or the statistics of it, even though whatever, that could be a little bit off or a little bit like less than what it should be. But when you get to that, you're like, yo, like really in reality, each other, like but you guys are marrying each other. You know what I'm saying? Like black people are marrying
Mhm.
black in every country, like the most, unless it's like a really non-black country or like there's not enough people. But also I think like I can understand why some brothers and sisters go to different races. I really do understand that in some aspects. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I can understand because think about if you're a black man or black woman and you try for so long to be with your people in whatever country and it keeps going wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. And we have our own culture. Like that we especially in America, like we believe in like the highest. Like you have to have the highest, like you have to be tall, you have to be handsome, you have to make a lot of money. Like there's so many rules that we have as black people, especially in America, that a lot of times it's sort of unrealistic for the common person. But
Mhm.
a lot of people achieve for that because that's what you see on TV and that's like sort of kind of where the culture's at. So I think the problem is like I've heard from other people when they step over to like, Asian girl or white girl, and because I've dated other people that are not black. Like I've dated non-black. I've never dated a white woman, but I've dated like Indian women, Asian women, like somebody that has melanin. You know what I'm saying? Like and
Yeah, I see.
but I did it because I was trying to be with black women for so long, and I kept getting like played to the left, like it kept going bad for me. I'm just saying this another like thing, like that the culture that I grew up with in my household, and what I knew about our people around the whole world, and I had different cultures in my family, like black cultures and stuff like that, like Caribbean, East African, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was normal. But then when I went to school and stuff, it wasn't normal for every other black person. So I thought that was normal to like know about different black people around the world and stuff. So I was looking for that in a woman to be cultural and to be worldly, and then I couldn't find it. So then when I started to see Asian women or Indian women that had that culture, even if they grew up in America, I was like, you know what? Let me try this Indian girl because she's darker than me and you. Like, you know, I mean, I still consider them black. I mean, some people wouldn't say that, but to me, like, I can still consider them black. But you know, like I went that way. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I had good intentions. I wanted to find that in a black woman that I couldn't find it. So then I went to something that was just like a black woman, but you know, some people would, I guess, say that she's not a black woman, even though technically she is. Like,
No, yeah, I was thinking about that. You guys have so many classifications from
mm,
people. Like you can be black, you can be brown, you can be biracial, you can be Indian or Latin. Here in Brazil, it's not like that. Like an Indian girl here is seen like black. Uh, Maybe we know she's not from Brazil, but she's from India. But if she have dark skin, she's black
but see that
and
that's
only
that
black.
yeah, that's funny that you say that because that's the way that I see it. That's the way I see it in America. But if you were to date an Indian girl or marry an Indian girl, I don't think most black people would be mad, but some black people would be mad. They'd be like, "Oh, she's Indian," and it's like, look at her. Like if you like, it just lets
Yeah.
me know. It just lets me know that like some people don't really know their history because if you knew that everybody came from us and you know they came from us, then like if you see another group of people that are classified as something different, forget the classification, like look at them, you know, like see their culture. I mean, that's how I feel, but everybody doesn't agree with that, you know, like some people are like, nah, like if they're not like talk like this, do like this, but I'm just like, look, I was dating a girl that was darker than this Africa that was from Sri Lanka. Like she was black. She was black.
Yeah, yeah. For us, it's worked the same way, I think. Also, here in Brazil, it's a little bit different because you in America receive lots of people from around the world. Here in
Yeah,
Brazil, that's not so common.
yeah.
So that there are not like of lots of Indians here. Uh, but here in Brazil, if you are not white, you almost all the time you are black.
So is there like any so is there any like Afro-Brazilian food like that is unique to like Afro-Brazilians or like what is like the Afro-Brazilian diet? Is there something that's unique like how in America maybe like sweet potato pie or cornbread or something that's like known for, you know, to be part of a people?
Feijoada for sure, which is beans with lots of meat,
Uh,
of pork, I think. Yeah, pork.
mm,
Um, we do love rice, beans, and farofa. Farofa is like flour. Yeah, we do love cassava flour.
ooh,
And I need to talk about dende.
dende?
Maybe you heard about that is an oil, and I think in like Angola and Mozambique and other African countries, they call palm oil.
Yeah, palm oil. I
Yeah,
love
but
palm oil.
here we say dende.
Dende.
There are lots of foods made with dende. One those are like the most is acarajé. Acarajé it's made of beans, onion, salt, and dende. It's like I don't know how to say that in English, but it's it's like a muffin, not a muffin,
Oh,
not a sweet muffin, but
like a pot,
a ball. Yeah, like a ball.
like a ball. Got you.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
like
it's
a hush puppy.
fried.
It's sort of like a hush puppy, and it's like fried, maybe.
Maybe I never heard hush puppy, but if you are saying, and it's fried on dende.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I think those are the ones I like. I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat
You
meat. Uh,
you're vegetarian.
Yeah.
I'm vegan. I don't eat meat either, or cheese or
Yeah,
dairy.
I know. I'm trying to put off um to push off
Mm.
milk and eggs, but I still don't. But it's not common here in Brazil. No, here black people do love meat.
I think that's the whole world. Like all around the world, black people love meat. Even in America too. Like Africa, they love meat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you shared some of those foods with me. So, um, let's say, for instance, like in Afro-Brazilian culture, you said that there's like certain areas in Brazil. So, like, what is probably the most known as far as like music and culture? Like, what's the most known out of all of Brazil for like Afro-Brazilians? Is it Rio? Like, what's the coolest black people in Brazil?
Oh, the coolest black people in Brazil.
Yeah, like what's the
You know,
area?
I'm very critical. You know.
Yeah.
uh, so the coolest. You give me an a topic like.
So let's say for instance, like okay, right now in like Afro-Brazilian music, like what is the most poppin' city? Like what's the city that has like the most music coming out of it?
Oh, the nicest music.
Hmm.
Is that what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Or
it's
maybe even
Salvador.
Where is it?
It's Salvador for sure.
Oh, Salvador. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I like Rio. I do love Rio. São Paulo is not that bad.
Mm,
It's nice, but nothing can compare to Salvador.
got
No.
you. So is there a reason that you think like Salvador has the best like Afro-Brazilian music? Is it because maybe there's like a lot of struggle, like a lot of is there like a lot of struggle there, or is it just like how the people are, the energy?
It's more about the energy. Yeah.
Mm, mm, okay. Yeah, because I to be honest with you, I can't remember exactly where Salvador is. Is it near the beach? Like, is it near the coast or is it inland?
Yeah.
That's why
Most of big Brazilian cities are in the beach.
on the beach.
In
Got you.
On the beach, yeah. And Salvador is one of those.
Got you.
And
So,
São Paulo here in São Paulo, we doesn't have beach, but Rio is on the beach. Salvador is on the beach. Recife is
got
on the beach.
got you. So, is there like a popular like genre of Afro-Brazilian music right now? Like, what like is there the most popular type of Afro-Brazilian? What would that be right now?
The most popular Afro-Brazilian musician or music?
Like music, like the genre, like if it's like hip hop or R&B or like soul or funk. Like, what's the
Funk for sure.
mm,
But it's Brazilian funk.
yeah.
I don't know if you have heard about that.
Yeah, I love
It
Brazilian funk. I haven't I don't have like a lot of Brazilian music on my phone, but I have a couple of like Brazilian funk songs that came out. That's what I thought too, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, funk. It's
It's dope.
I really like funk. We are still struggling here against COVID,
Mm,
and we can't go out, and I miss that so much.
I know, like the parties, like outside, like oh man,
Hmm.
with the DJs. Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah,
It's dope. I think everybody needs to travel to Brazil and definitely go to Brazil exact like now, today. Whenever you can go, you need to go. I need to make it down. When I come down there, we're gonna go to like some funk shows and like we're gonna do it.
yeah, for sure.
We're gonna do it. So okay, so is there anything that as an Afro-Brazilian you would like to say like to the whole world, like at the end of this conversation? I really appreciate you having me on here, but is there anything that you would like for the world to know or anything like that?
Hmm, that's a hard
I know.
question.
Or any
But
or anything you just want to say in general.
yeah, but no, thinking about how the word see us that are like a Brazilian way
Mm,
of life, the word see. Uh, I just would like to tell you that's a black way of life
exactly.
here. So we do exist here. We are most of the part of the population, and we are actually we try to be really happy here, it's hard sometimes, but I think we are doing better and better and better. And that's it. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about life. It's not common to us to like receive Black people from around the world. So please come and talk to us. And be careful here.
Of course,
Never,
of course, of course.
never forget.
Of course.
But I really would like to have my other brothers and sisters here with me.
I agree. And you know what? We're gonna come after they see this. We're all coming, so you better be ready. You know? But thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate it. You're actually the first Afro-Brazilian on my channel, so this is a big deal because, like I told you, I love Afro-Brazilians. Dude, for real. There's a different flavor down there, a different lifestyle, and just a great energy. Like, you know, the energy that we all know, but a lot of us haven't experienced it yet, you know? Like, everybody knows African American culture, everybody knows like Nigerian culture or maybe Ethiopian culture, but like there's some cultures that are so beautiful and so loud, but still the world doesn't know they exist. And so I really appreciate it, you know? I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, yo, guys, until next time, please like and subscribe, turn on your bell notification, and add me on all social medias, which is Afric Network, which is Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Snapchat, and Facebook. Each one teach one. Always love each other. Always learn from each other. And do you have any social media that you want to give to them?
I'm not a girl from social media, but I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Bepassarinha, and I think it's the one I use the most.
Okay, and I'll have that down there, guys. So in case you guys want to talk to her, get to know her more, or ask her certain questions about Brazil, if you're going to visit as a brother and sister, then you can get at her. So, yo, guys, until next time, peace. One love.
Ciao.